Sam here. I'm going to take you through a full day in the brand new Polar Grid X. It's an exciting new watch. I'm going to go through as I run, as it monitors my sleep. I'm also going to cover the new hill splitter feature and where it could be useful, as well as the new turn-by-turn directions using Komoot. Sam from Road Trail Run here. I'm going to take you through a day in the Polar Grid X. I'm going to train in it. I slept with it. And I'm gonna show you how it functions during the day. So it's a $430 brand new watch from Polar. It weighs 63 grams. It has a 40-hour training battery life, GPS and heart rate with power save modes and all kinds of sophisticated training features. As you can see, it has a strap that sort of looks like a nylon webbing. It has a stainless steel bezel, easy to hit buttons. So the very first feature I'm going to take you through is the nightly recharge feature. I just woke up. So as soon as you wake up, it knows that you've been sleeping. You push the button and then it will save, and everything to do with your sleep will be right on the watch. No app required to see it. So as far as I know, and I think unique to Polar, you can see everything you need to know about your recharge. A nightly recharge right on the watch, no app required. Let's take a look at some of the details. I'm going to use the buttons, but you can also use the touchscreen. It's telling my autonomic nervous system charge is on the upswing. As with everything in Polar, everything is compared to a 28-day average. So my sleep charge was kind of normal. So let's take a deeper look here at the autonomic and the data you get out of that. So it's saying I was above usual. My average heart rate was 56. You see my 28-day average 57. My beat to beat interval was 1071. So a little bit longer than my 44 for the average. Heart rate variability was 50. My breathing rate average was 15.2, a little bit higher than normal. One interesting thing, and we have an article linked here, is that with the infection raging, respiration rate, high respiration rate can be an indication of infection. So while this isn't a medical device, you can take a closer look at your respiration rate to give you some indication. Here's my sleep data. It was kind of usual for me. Score of 53. There's the time I fell asleep. I was 9 hours, usually, close to 8 hours and 57, 8:55. Actual sleep, 97%. Continuity. Long interruptions, 12 minutes, a little bit less than normal. Sleep cycles, REM sleep, a little bit lower than normal, and deep sleep. And light sleep, interruptions, and then you can score how you actually felt you slept. You can really see what the effect of your behavior is. I had a couple whiskey drinks the next night, and you can see how my ANS really disintegrated. And then all of this, very interestingly, feeds into Polar's FitSpark, which gives you, along with your fitness level, age, etc., indications on how you might approach your day's workouts. And some choices are given, and this is all dynamic to the data that the system is collecting. So I'm going to go running today, and at the end of the day, I'm going to show you, along with the run statistics, I'm going to do the hill splitter, the new hill splitter feature. I'm going to follow route from Komoot, and then I'm going to show you at the end of the day how everything ended up. First, let's talk about screen visibility. Very, very good. Highly trans-reflective if you tilt it just right. In terms of battery life, I'm estimating 5.5 days if you run 1 hour per day. Everything on full quality, sleep monitoring, etc. In terms of pure GPS and wrist heart rate training battery life. I'm estimating 27 hours for that. Komoot for the mapping here, and the mapping quality and detail is absolutely spectacular. This is Round Valley. All the trails are indicated. However, I ran into a problem trying to lay out my usual route. Point A is about where I live, and what I wanted to do was come through here and go through this path, public path, and then down this street that goes between two schools. What it did was it routed me all the way around it. I couldn't get past this section. And I'll show you how I got around it, because Komoot also lets you import a TCX file from any other platform. So when I imported the TCX file, it gave me some warnings, and I just chose to follow the way I wanted to go. And you can see the dotted line, something it didn't quite like. Once you're done in Komoot, you come over to Polar's Webflow service in the favorites section. You see the little blue dial there to the left. You press that, and the route will automatically come over from Komoot. Then you head over to your watch itself. You press the gear, and then you select routes, and then you select the one you want to do, and then you'll see the gray showing up on the bottom right. Ready to go? You just start, and you're on your turn by turn. You see it's telling me to turn left at the next street, so it's very, very close to where I need to turn. And here an example of the hill splitter. You can see the shiny cars. I turned around exactly when it indicated a hill. Here my it uploaded route telling me to turn right in 82 feet. I deliberately went off track to see how quickly it responds to a wrong direction. And if you look off in the distance at the curve, so about 50 meters is when it responded and said I was going the wrong direction. So I'm facing back where I need to go. So I made a little loop to come back to where I needed to be, and the track would go right by those cars. And as I got closer, it gave me a better indication of where to go. And when I got very close, you can see it's spot on. Let's take a look at the result. And I got 5.76 miles on the Grid X, and I got 5.66 on a Garmin 945. There were lots and lots of pauses for filming. The next day I went back and confirmed it at 5.8 using the Grid X and a Coros Apex Pro, which always agrees with the Garmin. There's my heart rate, average and max. There are my heart rate zones where I was. Now this is a new feature. This is the energy use screen. And what you see here is it's based on my effort, cardiac, and also pace, power zones. And there's my cadence, 170. Not too bad given that this course is at altitude, as you can see, 6,846 feet, and there are quite a few hills. There's my ascent. Now here's the result of the hill splitter, and we'll look in a little bit at the actual results in terms of what these hills represent. But turned around a couple times, more than a couple times, exactly where it indicated a hill starting, the angle up, about 35 feet or 11 meters each time. At the conclusion of your run, you see all your uphills and downhills, and of course that goes over to Polar Flow as climbing. It doesn't really take into account false flats and false down. To give you an idea how that all looks on a loop with quite a bit more climbing, I'm going to show you the data from another run. A long, continuous steep climb of 664 feet from uphill 2 through uphill 4, with a few short 300, 400 foot downhill and flatter sections. This is really a continuous climb, but the hill splitter as of yet, because it's not tied into the Komoot or any other route, doesn't know what's ahead. I expect that Polar will be working on that in the future. I don't know for sure, but it's kind of interesting. Here I've clicked on uphill 2, and we can see the nature of the uphill cadence. We did stop for a second there, heart rate, and the map. So this is quite a good future approach here that we'll have to see how they evolve it. So let's now take a look at what everything looks like on Polar Flow, the web view. I tend to prefer the web view because of all of its detail. I'm going to cheat a little bit and show you the data from the next day where I had a lot fewer stops. So you get all kinds of data here. Not only the mapping, the pacing, the heart rate. I found that the heart rate data, it was very solid when I put the watch on my dominant wrist, whereas the day before I had it on my non-dominant wrist. You get better blood flow. There's your elevation profiles, and there's our hill splitter data from some of the examples from the shorter, lower profile. You may recall in the morning the GridX was recommending that I do cardio, which is what I did, and then after analyzing all the data, now it's showing that I should do some core and mobility exercises. So it's really a smart training system. Now there's the weather, and you can see by hour the detail, the temperature, of course. There's no rain, that's for sure. It's beautiful. Wind speed, wind direction, humidity, very low here in Park City, and our future forecast. Here's my activity, which brings in, of course, the running. Calories burned during the day. So this is really important. This is my basic overall status, comparing the last 7 days to 28. So you'll see that here. Remember, we talked about 28 with the sleep. So when you're in the green or productive, that means you're building. You can occasionally overreach. But don't. If you end up on the right there in the orange all the time, you're going to be in trouble in terms of potential injury. And if you're in maintaining, you're not really going to improve much. Detraining would represent rest. So the strain is the cardiac effort I put on in the last 7 days, whereas the tolerance is what I've done over the last 28. And if I had it on, I could see my current heart rate. I don't know why it's picking up 87, but that shows me my heart rate during the day, the maximum today, and the minimum so far, and the lowest during sleep. You swipe up, you can see your notifications. If you swipe down, you get to your alarm clock, your do not disturb, and airplane mode. So this is a really fine watch. I'm going to compare that to some of the other options out there, the Coros Apex Pro, the Garmin 945, which is quite a bit more expensive, the Sunto S7. But they've done a really good job here. There's some work to do yet on the routing for travel, but by following, as I did, a preloaded route, I had turn directions, so that would be super useful in a trail race. It notified me when I was off track. Heart rate was solid. So the Grit X is a really fine new contender here in the GPS watch game. We're going to have a full written review as well as a comparative video real soon to help you make some choices.